Got it. Okay, I'm going to pause. Great, thank you. All right, well, welcome all to Coach Jacksonville, where we do all kinds of interesting discussions around coaching. And what I'd like to start off with is having everybody introduce him or herself. And so let us know who you are, maybe what your relationship is to coaching. And if you can say what promotional, how do you promote yourself? Do you use promotional items to promote yourself? So we'll start off with that theme. And I'm going to start off. I'm Doug Wilder. I'm a business coach, been coaching now for 28 years. And I have mainly worked with honest lawyers that want to make boatloads of money. And I also work with, specifically right now, I'm targeting the adult children of CEOs who don't seem to fit into the culture of the business. So it's fascinating with the succession planning there. CEOs are trying to pass it on and not always going smoothly. So we need to smooth it out. And speaking of smooth, so this is the one thing that I've really spent some money on, which is finding new perspective. Problems are merely challenges, not yet converted into opportunities. A saying that I made up. I'm sure others have come close to that discussion too. But so that's what where I am. Selena, can we have you describe what's yourself?
Yeah, what is it? Afternoon, it just came out of morning. Barely.
Yeah.
I'm Master Life Coach G. Gibbons, and actually a serial entrepreneur. I'm a master hairstylist also at Platinum Cut Salon right off of Southside and Atlantic Boulevard. Financial consultant and author of 3 books, and also a podcast. I have a podcast, 800 Financial Freedom Podcast.
Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use any promotional items?
Just pretty much social media right now. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Good. Shane.
Yes. My name is Shane Riggs. I am, the camera doesn't like me as much. I am a certified financial planner practitioner, and my main focus is on working with business owners and entrepreneurs. I help them with things like protection strategies for their family and employees, retirement funding so they'll be able to retire when they want to, not when they have to, and succession planning so the next generation taking over the business is set up in the best way possible to take over that business. My main reason for being here is really I form a lot of relationships with other professions for the benefit of my business owners. So attorneys, accountants, real estate agents, brokerage firms, business brokers. And I noticed over the last year or so that one of the lacking places in my practice was reliable coaches that I could talk to my clients about. So Selena Stone invited me to be here to meet everyone. I was here a couple months ago, sick last month, but I'm back again. I'm looking forward to building those connections. I use some promotional products. I've got pens here. They hold up better than his cards, so I like them. But that's about the extent of my promotional products so far. But I like this list that Peggy's given us, so I'm looking forward to learning more.
Good. Okay, good. Let's have Monique introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Monique Madrid. I am a film festival organizer. I organize 2 film festivals, my own that I created with my husband, LOL Jack's Film Festival, which is Love Our Locals While Laughing Out Loud. And the other is a staple in the city, Jack's 148-hour film project, which is going on currently, where filmmakers make a film in 48 hours. I also help produce, and my other passion is HR. I guess the coaching part would probably fall in the part of filmmakers. They're very much introverts. And so with these competitions, we're not only creating great networking opportunities and collaboration centers for them, it's also giving us a chance because me and my husband are a little bit more extrovert to them, to, get the world, or when I say the world, we do really go outside of Jacksonville too, to promote them, but also in the city to promote that we have fabulous creatives here that can either help make your content better or just geek out on their film stuff. And so we're trying to be a voice to our arts community, that you don't have to wait for a popular artist to come to your city. You can, love on your local artist right now. So hopefully that's considered coaching. And with HR, because I do workers' comp as well, I obviously help with the injured workers and coaching them on what their next steps are going to be, and also coaching injury comp specialists on what to do to make sure that they're doing their part to help the injured worker. In regard to promotional materials, I do have pins. Most of my promotional items are going to be video content, because that's how I get creatives' attention, through visuals.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So I didn't know that you were an extrovert. I just thought you were extraordinary. So it works out well. Good. Alana, let's hear from you.
Hi. Whoa. Okay. Now I'll hold it. Yeah. So I'm a marketing specialist for Doug, and so I help him with his promotions, all digital, all online. So no hard products at the moment.
Not yet.
So that's me.
Video together.
All right.
All right.
So, hey, everybody, I want to introduce to you.
Why don't you introduce yourself first?
Oh,
I know you can be
okay.
just as excited as introducing yourself.
Hey, everybody. I am Heidi Aderman with Untitled Coaching. I am also a certified Wilder business success coach, and I am an instructor. Oh my goodness, use your tongue on a Monday. All right. I am an instructor with the Essential Academy, and I do some online courses and stuff there. I like to help people build better processes by using games and fun and things like that, because these processes of building habits don't need to be as difficult as what we're making them feel, or as unenjoyable as we make it be. So that's what I do. And now I can introduce
Yes,
Peggy.
now.
Okay, so I've known Peggy Lynch probably for about
6 years.
yeah, something like that, long time. I worked with her over at Pure Clean Emergency Services, and I was a marketer over there. So obviously marketing, promotional products, those things kind of go hand in hand. So she always helped me out with finding the best goodies for insurance agents and property managers. So that's why I wanted to share her with you guys today, because she's such a valuable resource as far as, promotional products. When you buy them in, bulk, become expensive. So you're like, well, should I really do this? Should I not do this? Is it going to help me? And Peggy is a great resource to be able to tell you how to use certain things so you get the most out of your promotional products. So Peggy is with 21K Promotions, and you can take it.
Okay, all right. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for having me today. Peggy Lynch, 21K Promotions, and I'm here to give you some insight into the promotional products industry. And let's see how that might fit into your industry. And actually, if you think about it, these promotional products fit into every industry. Now, I've handed out a few pieces with my imprint for you to take with you. And those of you coming to us through Zoom, send me an email and I will give you this little gift. Okay, Peggy21K@outlook.com. Okay, so this industry, just to start out, is a $24 billion industry. Okay, and it has been around forever and ever. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read from my little cheat sheet so I get the facts right. The history of promotional products goes along with that. The first promotional item in U.S. history was a commemorative button made for George Washington in the election of 1789. And from there, there were spin-offs of almanacs and calendars and rules and the industry continued to grow from there. So we'll talk a little bit about products in the industry, purposes, to use those products, a distribution plan, and a couple of little case histories. So a couple of things that the trend ideas are virtual event giveaways, work from home products, return to office items, that's all very obvious. Wireless products are always a hit. Writing instruments have always, as long as I've been in the industry, which is since 1984, have always been in the top 3 of the most used and purchased products. And the other 2 would be wearables and calendars. So you're always good with pens, always good. And then we started an association, not really, I was around it then, in 1904, we started this, which is called the Promotional Products Association. It used to be called the Advertising Specialty Institute, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, it depends on how old you are, which one you're gonna recognize. At specialties, promotional products. The other way people identify with this industry, is they refer to it as, as far as the products, tchotchkes, trinkets, swag. Swag's most popular these days, okay. But think about this, the most recognizable trophy in the world is the Oscar statuette. That, of course, comes from my industry. I've not gotten that order yet, but you know, we're still time. And that was, of course, in the filmmakers industry. You know, the reason I bring that up is when we use terms like trinket and tchotchke and so forth, it kind of minimizes, it could minimize the value of the product. So everything that you hand out with your message and logo is valuable. And this also goes to show you how many different, what the different price levels are, you know, from a statuette like that down to business cards, name badges. Okay, I see a name badge here. I don't even have one on, and I'm noticing, I'm still selling them, but I don't see a lot of people wearing name badges these days. It's my
How long
observation.
is that trend been around? About years.
Of not
2017.
wearing
Yeah,
badges. I probably started noticing it, well, when we all started coming back in person.
Okay.
Just about that time. Or even, let me back it up, even on some Zoom calls, you could see, I did wear a name badge on a Zoom call.
Mhm.
I feel like people know who you are. Mhm. So, so the product pricing, and like Heidi, like I was speaking too quickly, Heidi says, you can start looking at, you know, considering products that you want to put your message on. And it's pretty, it can be pretty frightening, okay? Let me tell you one reason, or 2 reasons. One reason is there are over 40,000 companies in our industry, and that's the suppliers and the distributors, which I am now. I started out in the industry as a supplier, working trade shows throughout the major city, you know, US cities. So I have pretty good insight throughout the whole industry, having worked both sides of it. So any kind of questions, just let me know. So, all right. Now, another topic that I want to cover is so often people ask me for American-made products. Well, that's kind of a loose term in our industry, and I'll tell you why. And I learned this years ago on the supplier side. We used to shop for product in China, but it would not be assembled. So then it's shipped to the US and it's assembled in Orlando, Florida. Guess what? It's USA made. They just made the product. So we do have a lot of factories in the US that actually are manufacturers, not just suppliers. So that's depending on how important that is to you, you're gonna look closely at that. So now I'd like to show you a couple of products that we use. This is one of my favorite pieces, and it's a simple calendar. And I did this for Holiday Inn a few years ago, but I keep it because the way we did this, in all the date blocks, whatever was going on in Clay County, which is where this hotel is located, whatever was going on around Clay County, they dropped into these date blocks. So that the people staying at the hotel, they would all receive a calendar and then they can just say, oh, well, let's see. Clay County students return to school, the 8th, oh, big day. So, but it's an awareness, and then if there's something happening in town, events, they're on here. So this is a great way to get your message. And then there's a picture, give a picture on each page with a little theme and so forth. And this is one of the smaller calendars, but it still hangs wall. And there's calendars from calendar cards and magnets, all the way on to ones that hang on the wall, 3 feet tall, and so forth.
So they would give those calendars to the patrons of the Holiday Inn?
Yes, and certainly they would do that probably in November, December, because it's for the calendar year.
Yeah.
But with calendars, you can start them wherever. I
Mhm.
mean, if you want to start it with your fiscal year, you can do that.
Okay.
But, yeah. So that is one of my favorites. Now, here's one that I did. So, I have some networking groups in Illinois, and we were doing Zoom all the time. Well, not all, but some networking groups have, quit doing Zoom because we're back to in person. And that eliminated me from that Illinois group. And I was kind of upset. So I like that group. I created this little sticky note pad. And it's just my photograph, contact information up at the top. And then at the bottom, it says virtual meetings might be going away, but I'm not. I love it. So there's just so many different ways to use products. And what I like to do, when I meet with somebody is find out what your pain points are. Like that. And with that, yeah. So now this is a simple shoelace with my logo. And this is called a step and repeat. Okay, so this is my logo now. Anyway, so I did a mailing and I put this in and I put a little flyer, just 1/3 page flyer. And it was colorful, and then the question was, does your marketing plan have you all tied up in knots? So, and then about a month later, I mailed to those same people the second shoelace, in case they want to see. And then I said, let's tie this up, let's tie up your marketing ideas together, and so forth. So, I like it. Yeah, so you need to certainly, I obviously highly recommend promotional products. But you have to have a system, have a plan, you have to have a distribution plan, you have to have a purpose, okay? And you have to have a budget. So, but back to the pricing situation, okay? Yeah, there are, with all these factories in the United States, I might have 20 factories that sell shoelaces or sticky notes, okay? But because I've been around so long, I know who my favorites are. Certainly I look at price, but you also have to look at quality, okay? You don't want to put your name on something that is going to be scratched off or misprinted, something like that. Had a client 2 weeks received an order of 2,500 pens. My factory, I guess they really wanted to get this out the door because the pens were all still wet. Wow.
Mm.
And they packed them. So client wasn't happy, but that can happen in the industry. We fix it. You call me right away and I get with the supplier right away and we fix it to your satisfaction. So they all were reprinted, dried, and then shipped. So that worked out well. So pricing again is huge, especially with writing instruments. You can probably find a writing instrument in even low quantities for about 17 cents. But as soon as the recipient tries to use that writing instrument, aka pens, and it doesn't write, or the spring falls out, or the tips, or the imprint is wrong or scratched, you're way behind the eight ball, because now you gotta correct your image to all these people, so. But with that, I know who my favorite factories are, who have the best pens at a decent price. Now, we certainly have some real high-end pens for special occasions, okay? But most often, my clients are looking for a mid-range pen that writes well and writes for a long time. So, so I sort out not just the product, but the quality. And then what I also do, when I'm looking for products for my Florida clients, I start looking at my Florida factories first, because the freight cost and the delivery time. Okay, so I try to take into consideration everything that is included in this marketing plan, that program that we want to do. So, and again, you can obviously tie in promotional products with other media, other advertising media, which I did when I did my mailer, you know. So there's a lot of ways to do that. I'm not saying only use promotional products, although big ones first. So pricing is an issue. Delivery time, oh my goodness, it's getting a little bit better, but we're all aware of all those rates out on the California, Southern California. Let's see, a lot of my bags and my shirts and things that I couldn't get to my customers, it's starting to loosen up a little bit. So we're good on that. Now, I'm going to mention drinkware. I mentioned that I don't want to discourage you from handing out coffee mugs. I do it myself, okay? But once you start looking at a product that you want to put your messaging and your name on, it's not just, if this is 50 cents, I don't remember what it is, but if it's 50 cents, that's not where it stops. You've got a setup charge. If you don't have camera-ready artwork, we got to go back to get that done. You've got freight. If you do one, that's one cost. If you do multicolor, now you're adding more costs. So there are other costs involved. So you don't want sticker shock, but I mean, we go through this, you know, when my clients are looking for a certain item. So.
What is, if we're looking at cost, if we're looking at something like the sticky, what is that in comparison to the mugs?
Oh my goodness. Well, the mugs are an awful lot more expensive. Now we can get inexpensive mugs. We can get budget mugs for $2 a white, $2 coffee mug with the one color imprint, and that's a rounded price. That's I'm not sure on that completely. But now here again, freight and coffee mugs. The weight of those mugs increases the freight. People do have sticker shock when they see the freight costs, right? I give an estimate before we do it. You know. And along with that, the suppliers of drinkware, especially coffee mugs, insist on special packing material for the mugs. And guess what? We pay for that.
Sure.
They don't absorb that cost. So all this stuff, you know, starts sneaking up on you.
Sure.
And you want a one-side imprint, a two-side imprint, a wrap, you
Right.
know. But there again is a situation where if you're looking at two-sided imprint or a wrap, I know which companies to go to that will offer for this two-sided imprint. You know, so not every one of them does.
Right. So it's likely to go from $2 or $3 a cup to $4 or $5 a cup. And that's assuming that you're going to buy 72 of them, or usually come in
Dozens.
What's the numbers that they usually come in like?
In increments of dozens usually.
Okay.
And most often they do start out at 72 pieces.
Yeah.
Although there are some companies that will do 12.
Yeah.
There are situations where you might need 12.
Yeah. But they're
Now,
expensive.
yeah, but now it's gonna be about $8 a cup instead of $2 or $3.
Right.
So.
But if you're printing something like just sticky notes, that's going to be a lot less expensive.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, with sticky notes, there's so many choices. There's so many different sizes this is 25 sheets per pad. You can get it 50 sheets per pad. You can get the blocks this big, you know. And this is a 3x3. Okay, it is one of the smallest. I wouldn't go any smaller because no room to write. It's a little note. Want the recipient to use it, to utilize the piece of it.
So is there an approximate price on just, on the pads? I know it depends on how many you get for the volume, but is that probably like $1 a piece?
It's much less than that, and I won't quote even, it's under 50 cents a piece.
Okay.
Depending on quantities. And the one thing I don't do is quote an exact price ever unless I'm sitting at a
Sure.
computer.
Oh, yeah. No, and it can probably change from hour to hour, I would
Wow.
imagine, particularly these days.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's so many factors to consider. Again, quantity, size, and how many colors you get.
Yeah.
You know, and things on the other end. So I have a couple of stats that I'll give you, but also what I want to point out as well. When you're considering working with a promotional products, brand specialist, you know, whatever, some of the things to consider is, again, purpose, okay? Your target market, okay? Your budget, your distribution plan, time frame is critical. Now, as far as, let's see. As far as your target market and your purpose, those are things you can, you know, sit down and have a conversation on. And when I say target market, there's a couple of things to consider. Is this product with your information going out to somebody that is in a particular industry, or do you want it to reflect your industry and hand it out to different people? So that all happens in a conversation, or what are we trying to accomplish here? So we do that. So I'll just rattle off a few of these stats, but you know, pay attention to them because it'll tell you whether or not it's something you should consider. You know, so 90% of people who receive a promotional product can recall the name of, that's what you want. Recall. 89% I think just can recall the brand on a promotional product they received for the last 2 years. A single promotional item averages 344 impressions per month.
Sorry, is that like a pen that's seen that many times in a month?
Yeah.
It's the impression.
How many times they take it out and look at it?
Wow.
Mhm.
How many times I open the junk drawer and see it sitting there?
Or like in the example of PureClean, we would always get promotional products that we knew insurance agents were gonna have on their desk. So when one of their clients called and they were like, my house is flooded, they'd be like, okay, you need to call PureClean, because they have this big calendar on their desk. But besides that, every client that would come and sit down in front of their desk, and I knew I would sit down on the other side of their desk once a month and it'd be like, oh, I see PureClean there, I see PureClean there. All right, done my work here. Have a nice day, you know, so I know that those agents are the only ones seeing it. But people that are homeowners that were sitting down for insurance goals. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of sitting across the desk, you know, back to coffee mugs again, there's another consideration. If you're gonna have a one-side imprint, do you want the side with your imprint and message facing a right-handed person who's drinking the coffee? Or do you want it on the outside of the mug so that when they're drinking the coffee and their client is in front of them, can see them with your impression?
Yeah, no, we went through that.
Did you?
Yeah, because the saying on facing them about problems or challenges, opportunities, but on the other, I find a new perspective, whatever that time. So you know, which side you want to emphasize? I guess we decided to do it.
It's very attractive mug. I love the colors.
Oh, thank you.
Love the colors.
Yeah, we worked a long time on getting the color right, getting the shape.
Shape is important, and that is similar to a bistro mug C handle,
Oh, really?
just so you know.
Okay.
But and the reason I mention that, it curves a little bit, just
Uh-huh.
slightly toward the
Right.
bottom. But a true bistro mug is a much more severe curve. So now your copy or logo, where's can fit? It's,
Yeah.
You know, don't have as much room as you might think.
Right,
So
right, yeah.
style is important.
Yeah, and we went through the four iterations: purpose, target market, budgets, and the time frame. All those were in consideration. The time frame we missed Christmas. So we were thinking about, okay, handing it out as a Christmas gift. Came in the week after Christmas, so it was more of a New Year's.
I'll give you an idea on that subject for next year. And this is what I do. I don't send out Christmas or holiday cards, at Christmas time. I send Thanksgiving because your clients, especially if your competitors doing a similar and same thing, they're gonna receive at Christmas time this mound, and then their wall's gonna be covered with all these Christmas cards in it.
Yeah.
And but how many Thanksgiving cards do you think they get?
One of my mentors told me that when I first started, we'll celebrate all of the holidays. And all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. So, let's see, okay, so 53% of the time a promotional product creates a more favorable impression of the advertiser. So, yeah, we do need business cards. I mean, that's just the fact of life. Although, as soon as that business card gets scanned into somebody's CRM program or whatever, it goes in the trash. Okay, and unless it's staring them in the face, they're not thinking it. You want to stay top of mind in front of people, your clients, existing clients and potential clients, So then you want to go a step further and you have a business card made out of a magnet. I mean, it's something more tangible. For some reason, people will hesitate to throw away something that is
Perceived as
easily.
more valuable.
Yeah, there's just a little more value to that, So that is something to consider. And then what I did is I brought some samples. These are random samples, and I'm not gonna pull everything out. I just always overpack, okay? But, there's, people often ask, what's new? What's new? Well, there are a lot of new things, but you better be careful because you don't want the first car of that design. You're not gonna buy that first one because it has to go through about a year, some kind of a cycle to get the kinks out. And the same thing happens here. And what happens to those products, they look so cool and neat, whatever, and then people start ordering them and they don't work quite as well as they're supposed to. So within about 3 months, I'm on a closeout list with my suppliers. So anyway, think about that. But here's something, I'm just gonna pass these around, and if you're free to take one if you like. This is called the pencil line, pen pencil. Okay, and they do it pens and pencils. And these are different shapes. There's a martini glass. Here is a gun. Airplane.
Shark.
Okay.
Is that a shark or? Oh, it is an airplane.
Is
Okay,
it?
I thought it was a shark.
Well, that's all right.
Yours can be sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Here's, we can call it a shark. if you like. And helicopter. Yeah, it's fun to pass around and just play with them. And if you want to take one, please feel free. But here is something now. If you have a new product or a new idea, it's a rifle.
Right, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
like race car? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't.
It probably looks very much like a race car in that line. So, but if you want to introduce a new idea to the client, I mean, this is, I don't know the price point, but it's inexpensive. And it's a keychain with an idea bulb, a bulb, for new ideas. Okay. That one didn't go very well.
It doesn't light up.
We're all still stuck on the pencil, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Reminds me of those shaped
Those are
erasers
fun
as kids.
ideas.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, this, I'm gonna pass it around. I like this product line because I can get like just few as like 6 pieces of this item. So it's a higher
Mhm.
price point, But not every one of my clients is gonna give out 100 holiday gifts. for Christmas.
What's the price point you
It's gonna be, I was gonna say,
need? $15?
about that.
Oh, that's not much.
No, but it's still,
Yeah, that's a nice gift.
yeah, but the higher, obviously the higher the price point, then the lower the minimum quantity. So you
Right.
can get as few as probably 6 on that. And I probably have 5 factories that do that.
Right, okay.
And now with this, you can imprint, or actually, I believe the lid on with your logo, business name, whatever. And then the pens can be personalized
Uh-huh, okay,
for each person that you're handing this gift to. So, and it's great for an awards program.
yes. Okay. So in an organization might give out the speakers and that
Yes,
sort of thing. Okay, good.
yes, yes. See, there's so many.
Yeah,
Now this is, oh, yeah. This is oh my goodness, it's a coach. Handed these out. I'm gonna pass this one. I like that. You can see the whole package.
Yeah, that's.
And
nice.
those,
Ooh, it has a pin.
yeah, and those again, but so many different designs, qualities, packaging, you know.
Would those be, wages?
Yeah, if you're joining a networking group, now,
Did they,
BNI gave you that one?
Yes.
did they personalize the inside of this
You
too?
can see
So you
exactly.
can have it like
wow.
set up to be a,
Yes,
for each client, you could give them that, is that sort of what this person did?
well, it's just
It's like
the
an
first
introductory.
page.
Uh,
But you know, like if you
Oh.
had a thing that you would, like I could do my accountability game checklist just in here as like a freebie thing. 'Cause you can do it on your own, so it's important.
So it's
Yeah, when-
something like a journal?
it's external.
Okay.
And when you're charging clients to join a group,
Incorporate that
you
fee.
want to welcome them with something attractive like that. Then I'll tell you what, this is a little crushed, but there's everything is that you put a message on is in the industry, everything. This, just labels, you just have white bags, stuff this, and this is a gift shop near me. And so, when you start thinking about what's in the industry, and we've got earbuds. So, let me see the earbud, I'm sorry? Let me see it again. Okay. Yeah, oh, okay. Okay, here's one. This one is silly. To me, it's silly. But that is it.
Class,
Little flats.
that one's on your belt.
Nice, you never.
Everybody need
I bet you
this?
get a lot of traffic in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
So, does anyone? I do. Can you do banners also? Yes. Okay. Yes. I did banners for a coaching group where they were a traveling coaching group or networking group, whichever. And so they wanted the banner out in front of the facility or the restaurant, wherever they were having the meeting this week. So,
Yes. So when you do a banner, and then obviously different materials, some with grommets, some without grommets,
yeah.
all that. And so you have to know, I guess, Peggy, you have to know the right questions to ask to say, okay, to get it right.
Yes, where are you gonna hang this? What, what's the width gonna be? Are we gonna do one side, 2 sides? You want flutter flags, you want a square banner, you want those,
Yeah.
is it gonna hang from a tent top? Or what is it, retractable? Yes. And those are, I'm sorry?
The composite thing.
The little thing. Yeah, want to pay for it? Yeah. So once again,
You can
that's
get
where
it, you can get anything.
you can get it for free.
Anything you want.
Because if you buy the setup, you buy the kit.
Yeah.
And then flag or banner becomes weathered, then you don't buy a whole kit. So
Right.
now you're able to buy just a new place.
Get the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
What about other things, like, that journal that can like supplement our coaching stuff like, in terms of products we can sell? Do you have products of that caliber too?
Yes, yes. There are so many different levels, executive gift items, Waterford Crystal, Isabel, I mean, just every range. But yes, we have a number of companies that offer real leather journals, backpacks and fanny packs and, pouches and whatever, which are always nice executive gifts, And when you're offering up a gift to an executive, you don't always have to stay with a desk item. You don't, I mean, because they have real lives too. And maybe they golf on the weekends or fish or barbecue or something like that. If you want to put together a kit with oven mitts and barbecue tools and with your name on it.
Yeah. Well, piggybacking on what Heidi was saying, I have a notebook that I give to my clients, and it's about 110 pages. And notebook really works best, I think, because we keep on adding new things and taking things out. But I would love to see this thing just sort of falls out. Sometimes the page falls out, and so if we were to upgrade this, and this is already an upgrade because what it used to be, and now we've got colored pages in there and everything like that. So it used to be just a Word document, practically.
So it's very well coordinated, based on the fact that you
Yeah.
included those colors, the colors.
Right.
Of the book.
That's right, yes.
Right.
And so, so I'm wondering, if we were just to get a notebook, is it better for us to get a notebook
Screen printed.
screen printed or maybe a little leather or not leather? That's probably very
You could
expensive.
do faux leather.
Yeah,
Faux leather.
okay,
And you can emboss it
yeah,
or deboss it. But
Yeah.
of course, you have a lot of color and copy on that. You probably
Right.
would want to do a screen print.
okay,
In that case. So then that's permanent and it looks a little higher end.
Yeah.
So
so we're spending somewhere around, I think, $8 per notebook. I don't know if you ordered notebooks.
Not yet.
So it's probably $8, just $7 to $8 per notebook,
you're not including the contents?
not including. Well, this we can off on our own machine
Yes.
and split fees, okay?
Yeah,
But
but the notebook.
the
itself-
notebook itself is somewhere,
Like the binder?
like the
costs
binder, you go to Office Depot,
Yeah.
it's going to cost somewhere around, this is not the cheapest one. It's a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
It is heavy duty, what
Okay.
it costs.
Mhm, mhm.
So we're spending $6 or $7. Should we be looking into having something printed that would be better?
Yes, what we can do, I'd be more than happy to do a little research for you
Mhm.
and let you know what the options are out there.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're currently spending.
Right.
Your purpose. You want to take a look at some ideas for you?
Right, interesting. That would really upgrade, this would take it to a new level.
Okay,
You
okay.
know,
And that's your image. And
right,
That's, you want it to be portrayed in the best way possible, so.
and our
But
clients,
we don't always have that great a budget to work with initially, as we
Right.
grow. And so we gotta start with something and then upgrade.
yeah, okay, good, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you ever thought about putting more so like a workbook type thing?
Found, you mean,
A lot.
yeah,
Them separately?
yeah, part of the process that some of these pages change.
Okay.
Every time I get a new client, they say, now I want you to look at this new, or Heidi comes up with an idea like, oh, let's take this and
You know what you could do though, you do, oh, he also needs thumb drives that are branded,
Yeah,
because I've
yeah.
already lost my thumb drive. I have no idea out of the other thumb drives that I have, which
Yeah,
one is the
which-
Wilder
which
one
you gotta
anymore.
Plug them all in, right?
Oh,
So it would also be cool to have a pocket for that thumb drive, but that is probably, anyway.
Yeah.
So, when you have additions in the folder, you could add it to the thumb drives that you're giving out.
Yes,
Because that's immediate, and then they can just print those pages, and then when the next edition, the next print edition comes out of the ones, it would include the
Yeah.
upgrades.
okay. Then they make up somewhere where they can add, for instance, every time I meet with them every week, I've given them an agenda. And with that agenda, then, the idea then is that they put that in, they put some holes in it, put it in a notebook.
Yeah,
so how often do
a
you-
note like this that says your homework, and then you stick it on that. On that
Yeah, yeah.
How
Yeah,
often
right.
do you upgrade the paper? You were saying, you know,
Upgrade the papers, what do you
Yeah,
think?
Like
It was-
put new stuff
put
in
some
the
stuff
binder.
in there.
Right,
A new content, you mean? Because I know you were saying you take some stuff out and put some stuff in
Yeah.
the paper, so
right.
how often do you do that?
Well,
Is it more like a standard
Yeah, see,
everyone?
so what happens is a client will, let's say he's working on, coming up with a mission.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll have this page, he or she will have the page, and they even write on it. Or they say, oh, I want to up, so they go to the thumb drive and say, I want my whole team to do it. So then each team member will write their mission. Now they want to put it in the book, so and they can all put it, so it all stays under the mission section. And particularly when they get into, the employee engagement survey, if each employee wants it, then they can take this out, copy it, or they can go to the thumb drive. But what I'm saying is keeping it current and keeping it neat, because if it's bound, then it's stuck, and then end up sticking it over here, and then it becomes
Ragged, yeah.
ragged.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. Yeah.
so that's, and I don't want this all to be about me.
Yeah.
It's always about me.
But then this is important to now anybody else that is looking to do something.
Right.
Answered a lot of questions.
Right, right.
So what about the calendars? Like if I made something on Canva and then wanted to turn that into a calendar, do you have people that can print and make that, or are they much less customizable?
I don't know if they would take the Canva directly into their process. You know, they might have to transfer it over into their type of Canva ready art. I'd have to look into that, just to be sure. Because Canva, I guess you can even print calendars on Canva. can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know how that would compare to my industry, you know, customizing that calendar. I think you have an opportunity within my industry just because people have been making calendars for a million years.
Well, I'm just thinking like selection wise, like, and then cost differences and,
Yeah.
because depending on what the calendar is for, like, it's just like a giveaway kind of thing, then I would probably be looking for a lower quality than if I was doing something that was like a calendar of tons or something, you know.
Right, and those are things to take into consideration, you know, what is the distribution? Is it a mass handout? But even in a mass handout, it's still got to have some level of quality. We can go with less expensive items.
How long have you been in this industry?
100 years.
100.
Yeah.
Is that all?
It's 1984. It started in
1984.
Orlando.
So with that in mind, I bet you've seen a lot with we all have printers now in our offices. We all have Xerox machines, so that dates me to Xerox machine. And so with
Don't look at me like that. I know you all know I'm like, just give me those looks.
kids these days. You kids. So, so the idea is that there's, I think that you've seen a lot of change in what is popular over the years.
Oh, yeah.
You see the difference.
Yeah, and as far as paper printing, I provide that. I work through paper vendors. And then in return, because once they're finished printing, some flyers or some, content, whatever, their client then says, okay, you printed that for me, now can you print this bubble with my
Yeah,
logo?
right, sure.
Which is when they come to me, so we kind of work together that way.
Yeah.
So, I know that paper printing it's a little bit down. And everything is electronic.
Sure.
I'm still a little bit old school. I still do manila folder for every client.
Yeah.
That's how I have to but my other colleagues, kind of humor
My
me.
office is entirely paperless, so
Entirely paperless.
almost entirely.
Yeah.
The
Oh
only
my
thing I keep
goodness.
is the things I'm required to keep. Everything else is paperless.
No.
Can be securely accessed via VPN on my phone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
It's quite amazing. And I do get scolded,
Well, it helps because I could right now after this meeting, if I had a client, I could run a client meeting without having to go back to my office and collect.
and it's
everything
all
right
on
then and
that
there,
little,
and then I can send them their client facing documents right then and there as well. So
The dot sign and all
I just can't do it.
You can.
You can do it. You can do it. And I guess we have to
It's like a
decide,
mindset change
it isn't
with
like,
this new,
Yeah.
with the new.
It's a fear. It's a fear.
sure.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, when you want help with paper notes, right? It's like,
Mhm. It's true, it's true, yeah. It's exciting. Good. How are we doing on time? We've got some more time. Do you have any questions that you have of the crew on?
How long does it typically take when you put an order in, or do you expect it to come? I know you talked about delays, so there's like some of those nebulous parts out there that like could be longer, but on average, like if I wanted to order something for an event coming up or whatever, how much time before do I have to do?
We often say approximately 2 weeks. Please give me 4 if you can. Give me 12 if you got it, truly, because things are going to occur along the way. The supplier company might list in their catalog or on their website, that old school, that it's 10 days processing. Well, I think about this because that's after proof approval. I get a proof approval on everything, okay? So now I send you the proof and wow, something's misspelled. So now it goes back to the supplier to be corrected and back to you, we've lost 2 more days.
Yeah.
So it's no longer 10 days, We have companies that do rush service. Okay, we can have something printed in a couple of days. Your options, of course, are fewer, you're limited there. Because they've got a handful of products in-house that they promise to print like in 2 days, so we can do that. But then there are some that they just go on for it. We did recently, a pre-production proof. There's paper proofs, which is what your logo and so forth is going to look like on the product, okay? And then there's a pre-production proof, and that is a physical, it's this bottle imprinted. They set up the whole machine with all the work and everything else to print one piece. So it gets quite expensive. This could be $130. Okay, because you're paying all your artwork up front and production time to do one product. So but we did one just a couple weeks ago, and it was the copy on one side was a gold logo of sorts and a foreign language that I couldn't even read. The copy was in a foreign language, and then the other side had 3-color imprint. So we went through the paper proofs, the pre-production proof. They got that. They want it. it turns out they sent me, and I couldn't tell, the copy was incorrect, that they sent to me to get imprinted.
Mm.
So then we got to start over again, new paper proof. I don't think we're gonna do pre-production proof this time, but anyway, so that's kind of the process.
Mhm.
You know, it's not as cut and dried as we might like it to be.
I'm sure that like the art quality is of logos and stuff is a thing that comes up regularly. And I'm curious if I'm sure you've seen lots of businesses and stuff. Is there any like trends in logos that it seems like are successful to your clients? Like say like if somebody orders a round one product with a round logo, they hand it out, then they suddenly want more because it's really going well. So they start ordering more and more stuff. So have you noticed any types of logos, any like colors or design trends that that really seem to work for people, or do you not really know on the other side like how?
Well, okay, so I wish I could meet with the person before they start their business. If they ever had to start a business, please don't start that logo without getting me. Because some of the logos, some people try to be so creative, and so you're talking about colors, and I've got a client that has at least 8 colors in their logo. It's gorgeous, but you know what it costs to reproduce that? It's incredible. So I like to get in, and then there's a thing called, let's see if there's one. It's called tight registration. So it might be like this key where the man's leg is, they're touching. It's tight registration. And that often causes a problem when you're reproducing, okay? Then there's, as far as colors, there's, thinking a little too soon here, but this is an indoor product. But I was gonna say, I'd stay away from reds. I would say, especially if you're doing signage. Try to, it's all the time and it starts to be horrible. You know, this thing's all the time. So I would try to stay away from reds, but, and then there's different types of artwork that works better on certain products. You know, whether it's a JPEG, a PDF, an EPS, you know, vector art, those. But that is often determined based on what product you're using. Because if it's pad print, I can't remember if it's a PDF that's acceptable there, you know. But if it's direct to garment, that's a different type of artwork. If it's screen printed, that's another type of artwork.
What's your best and worst order you've ever had?
That's a good question.
What? Can I tell you about my best order?
Yes.
Okay, this is so cool. This is where my name came from. Okay, I just changed names in the last couple of years. But yeah. So many years ago, I was selling to an HVAC company in Illinois, and I had them in so many different facilities, and it was a good, wonderful client. So, and we did a lot of things, mostly for handouts at trade shows. So they were like on the level of pens and, you know, that kind of thing, but the magnets and whatever. So I had a bucket load of products that I had sold them over the years. And so Jerry calls me one afternoon and he said, hey, can you meet me in the morning? I got to hook up at O'Hare Airport before a flight or whatever. We need to reorder some stuff. I said, sure. Well, I got a list of what they've ordered before. So, and I'm thinking of meeting Jerry. I walked into a conference room and there were probably 20 employees of that company sitting around the table. And I thought, whoa. So then, as soon as I sit down, he says, okay, it's the end of the year and we've got about $20,000 left in our advertising budget. So what have you got? I said, oh my goodness. And I'm like, usually, except I'm doing a presentation like this, if it's an existing client, I don't bring a bag of new ideas to them. Well, he said reorder. So I wasn't listening very clearly, obviously. But either way, I came up with a few ideas, and then I said, look, let me take the break and get some things in the car. I ran down to the trunk. And I mean, I'm taking things out of my purse and I'm going like this, you know, and I'm just throwing them back and sat at the end of the table and I said, yes, around. Yeah, like it, thumbs up or no, okay? How many, okay? Have my notepad, did you do, okay?
Right.
And I just kept sailing items around the room.
Right.
And now this is back in late 80s. Right. So I walked out of there in a 2-hour meeting with a $20,000 order.
Yeah.
And well, it actually ended up being 21,000. So I told this story a few years ago to somebody I was having a one-on-one with, one of my colleagues. And he, from there on, kept calling me 21K. And he typed like, hi, 21K, 21K.
Yeah, right.
And I was liking that name so much better than Lynch Promotional Products, which is what I used to be. Boring.
Yeah.
So I just thought the story behind it, the logo, everything was so cool. So I switched. Anyway, so that was good. But that was, okay, so that was my best, okay. Worst, again, I had a magnet of something with foreign copy on it. I couldn't read it. They sent me the camera ready. And we did, I don't know, 5,000 magnets or something. And then he put the paperwork. So it tells me the input's wrong. I said, but you sent this to me like this. We just duplicated what you sent. And the worst is that he never paid for it. Then let's see, restaurants closed in the middle of the night.
Right, sure.
And
Yeah.
we've sold them, as a next focus.
Yep.
Wow. So there is all kinds of things go on in the industry.
Yeah. Good.
I do have a question, as far as the t-shirts. Is there just one brand of, shirts that you guys use, or you can pick?
You can pick, we have, I typically like to find whether it's a polo or t-shirt, whatever, discuss what price point you might be in. You want heavy cotton, you want a lighter fabric, you want breathable, you want sleeveless, whatever. Okay, we'll look at all that. And then are we gonna screen print or embroider? And are we gonna screen print left chest or embroider left chest, or screen print full front or full back, or whatever? So we can take all those factors into consideration. And then do a final price on it. And then there's either a tape charge or a screen or numerous screen charges. Again, it's it really is, a situation where we have conversation, and I go back to my drawing board and come up with the information and send you pictures and pricing, right?
That's how it works.
So we can order about the bill.
You can order one. It's probably not a good idea, but yeah, and yes, you can order 12. You're probably not getting into any cost savings until you're at least at 72. Yeah, but you don't always need 72. So yes, you can do that.
There's a setup fee.
Yeah. And I said over
Right.
the shirt price.
I want a question too. So what do you recommend when you're doing like indoor events? But you order like so many large, because you don't know what people's sizes are going to be.
Oh,
So
so someone
what do you
you're like handing out at
When you're selling at vendor events.
oh, selling it. Reselling. Well, that's a little bit better answer than if you were just handing them out, because you don't know what you're gonna end up with. But if you're selling, it is, as long as it's not like a dated piece, you can always, at the end of the day, when the event is over, if you've got 5 mediums and 20 smalls and whatever the case left over, you only hope then is to be able to resell that. But, that again is a conversation where, have you done this event before? Do you have any way of predicting? Or can you Google similar events to what you're trying to do and see what their turnout has been? We just need to do a little research. And it's not, I would bet my life that you're not gonna have 0 left at the end of the day,
I can piggyback on that a little bit, because I was in the band, so we'd have to buy t-shirts, and it's like, well, what sizes can you get? Well, we're a metal band, so not very many small guys there typically.
Yeah.
So very few small shirts, very few medium shirts. Larges we had the majority of, and extra larges, and then 2X.
Mhm.
Because we noticed there were a lot of 2X, so we had to put in another order for that, because there were large guys that were showing up for our show. So if you think about like on average, probably people, like the average to get order the most of the two sizes,
Uh-huh.
and then just do less based on how many t-shirts you can order.
I had a question. With, I noticed on your business cards that you have a QR code, and I know there's a lot of ease to get to a website through that, but I was also reading that there might be some security risks with people like hacking, like your QR site or something, or like, yeah, like that's what I said. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't.
I don't know. I was just
Okay.
blind research, you know?
Those cards out.
No.
No, that's good to know.
And it might be the industry that you're in.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I do know, speaking of QR codes, there are a lot of products. A lot of people try to imprint one of their handouts with a QR code. Yeah. Doesn't always work. Especially on,
Scan it.
yeah, it's not accurate. And especially on a curved surface, and not all, even sometimes on a flat surface. When I talk to the factory, they're like, no, we're not even gonna take a chance. So, it's a clever idea, but
I've seen someone do the QR codes on t-shirts. Yeah, I saw them all there. They were putting them on there, and
did they? Well, that's good, because I would kind of assume that maybe because it's fabric, that it might not, but that, yeah.
Well, as
Yeah, I've
soon as
seen
it
it.
goes to the wash.
Yeah, probably
As soon
not.
as one little edge of the QR code where.
Right,
Then it's not good.
yeah,
It's not good.
that's true.
Yeah, so if we were to engage your services, I guess the first thing we do is we take your card and call you. Yeah.
Or send it to our.
But all the, yes, just scan
If you need
it.
more information first before the call, scan the QR.
Yeah, yeah. But in the meantime, you're gonna be asking us questions like the purpose, target market, budget, timeframe. Is there anything else that we should be aware of?
Those are really the major things, yeah.
And you can help us even figure out whether we want to, whether we wouldn't.
Yes, that's part of my initial conversation with you is, do you have something in mind and are you interested in me making some recommendations?
Right.
So, did we put on there, are you looking for something that represents your industry to hand out
Right?
or your target market?
Yes, that's in the target market that you said, their industry or our industry.
Mhm, mhm. So that would be a consideration.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like aside from business cards and pens, what are like the top 3 most popular items ordered?
So,
Yes.
Oh, she's a question.
What do you-
Oh, we got a question, but I want to,
Yes.
let me answer that.
Yeah.
It's out top and calendars and wearables, although tech, I mean, that's what the industry tells us, but tech is really right up there.
Monique,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to jump in. But so in regard to, I heard earlier the young lady mentioning like merch for vendor table. So in your opinion, when should you know what should be considered sellable and what should be considered giveaway? But I want to also appreciate what you've been saying today, because I didn't realize I had a lot more marketing materials than I thought. Because like when you're talking about the Oscars, our trophies and the posters we give away and the lanyards, those are all marketing materials. And I didn't realize that. So I have way more than I thought. But back to the original question, how do you differentiate what's considered merch and what's considered giveaway marketing free?
That's something that we would determine like together, your purpose, your distribution plan, first of all, are you going to resell it or are you going to hand out? And again, I keep saying trade show or an event, something like that. I have clients that purposely, they have a gift shop or it's a museum with a gift shop. So that is absolutely something that's going to resell. And so then you have to look at what it's going to cost you to purchase. And can you literally take that $5 mug and sell it in your gift shop for $12.50 or $18 or something, whatever it is you think you need to make. So that's just another conversation and that's a little bit of research.
Okay, along that same line, one of the things that I have is about the legal questions. What are the limitations? For instance, I've heard that Oscars are forbidden, that you cannot manufacture or give out an Oscar because the Oscar people will come and shut you down. So,
And they wanted that trademark.
yeah, if it's trademark or copyright, it's got to be a trademark, yeah. Or patent.
Intellectual intelligence. No, it's actually designed, so it's more than intellectual.
Yeah.
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 So, first of all, are you familiar with what you can and can't do, or do you have recommendations on how to handle that?
You know, it's not that type of restricted.
Okay.
You know, most of the concern with is, certain industries, have regulations where you cannot say or do, you know, can't print certain things and can't say
Okay.
certain things and so forth. But then I'm always hoping that my client tells me this, oh, by the way, you know.
Right.
We're not allowed to do this and we can't use that color and whatever.
It's the client's responsibility.
It really is. What is that? And the only thing I see imprinted on a lot of product that we get from California is that Prop 65, you know, that that's printed on kind of a heads up or warning. This complies with Prop 65. Get
Okay.
covered in themselves.
I see.
But I have not come across an awful lot of that type of thing, except larger corporations where they have certain famous colors to use and certain verbiage that has to be duplicated exactly. You know,
I have a question. So if you want, say for instance, getting a t-shirt, get a certain slogan on it or whatever.
Yeah.
If someone else have that slogan, but it's not trademark, are you able to use it?
yeah, as long as it's not trademark.
Okay.
And I've even
And
seen,
even if it's trademark is it trademark for that city or trademark United States or worldwide? How does that work?
it depends on what it's trademarked for.
Okay.
So, you know, then we would start with it. I've had people ask me to reproduce a logo on some retail products, you know, brand name retail products. Reproduce a retailer's logo on a shirt or a hat. You know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
A coach,
Yeah, you
but if it
can't
looks
do
like the product,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be a good idea.
No.
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 Okay, good. Well, good. Any wrap-up ideas that you have?
Let's see, you made me think of, we're talking about that, you just made me think of, sporting events where, at the Chicago Bulls or
Right.
here at local
Jaguars,
games,
yeah.
Jaguars, and you have, vendors out there reselling
Yeah.
product, you
Yeah.
know, to be, or whatever, those- it's amazing what they do, especially when there's playoffs.
Mhm.
The night of the playoff, these employees of these screen printers are in the shop in the middle of the night.
Mhm.
Okay, and they're printing, they're taking a chance on who the winner's gonna be.
Yeah.
And they're rolling these shirts out on the presses like you won't believe.
Right, sure.
And it's a big risk.
My
Yeah.
first job was in the silk screen printing. I
Oh,
was the guy who
okay.
pulled them off of the dryer.
See,
So, and yes, and we did it for the Jacksonville Sharks.
oh, okay,
So,
and you
yes.
did like 900 million pieces.
Right, and then the next day I was one of the people who go and sell them at the vendor stand.
Okay,
So,
okay,
you gotta see the whole picture.
okay.
Cool.
So we would print thousands and thousands of shirts and then they'd lose.
Oh,
and
wow.
not go to the playoffs.
It's a big
And
risk, but
we
if
printed
they,
thousands of shirts that.
it's just, it's a risk, and so if your team wins, well, you come out way ahead with those shirts, because now you're the first one out the door with that,
As soon as the game was over, we'd roll them out and start selling them.
See?
Right, then and there.
Right.
Yeah.
Roll 'em all the way out.
yeah, that's how it works, that's how it works.
Wow.
So.
I would hate to be the one that.
Oh, that
We're not the
was
one for the
Yeah.
different team.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, I know what, I'm just thinking of, oh, you keep bringing thoughts to my mind because I've been in the industry for so many years. But oh my goodness, this is when I worked on the supplier side. And my boss, the owner of the company, was very, very strict. But he also didn't like, I was a sales manager. Do not come in here with questions when you can figure it out yourself. Do not ever come to this office again with that same question. No. So we had, we would have stuff coming in from overseas. And the distributors are calling us, they're all competitors. We get 20 of the same phone call every day. We need, 952,000 flashlights or whatever it is, and that has to come in from overseas, okay? So we quote them all the same price, and now we have to decide how credible this is. Is this for real? Is this just, which one of these distributors is gonna actually get this order if we bring in all this merchandise? And that's the question. So I went into this, what do you think? What do you think? And I say, go. Let's order it. We got that many people calling on it, it's gotta be valid, So we did, and we didn't.
Oh, boy, yeah.
So I didn't have to pay for it. But whenever you see those, not whenever, but often you see these shops, they're not resale shops. I forget what the term is, but it's like leftover merchandise
Yeah,
that
sure.
people can't sell.
There's a place called like the Whoops Factory Outlet
There you go.
that has, it's like misprints and stuff, yeah. And like just the zipper is just a little bit off, or just like this, the sewing or the color.
Yeah. Well, I started chasing those people pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
This has
you
been
so much.
tremendous, a great amount of information. And I'm excited to see what promotional items we're going to be doing this year. It's really good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and please let me know. I mean, I'd love to work with you on anything upcoming. And I sample you if you need them.